It has been said by some wise soul in the universe that family is art in its imperfect, loving human form. We understand messiness and are inspired by imperfection, for through these things we learn to grow, to aspire, and to achieve greatness. We learn to thrive and we journey towards success. This is the art of family. So I welcome you to our family, the Cots family, where we create opportunities to succeed. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Art of Family. I am Cheryl P. Johnson, Chief Executive Officer of COTS, and I am really excited about huddling up with my dear friend and colleague, Rachel Minion, to talk about one of her favorite movies. And I would say one of, because when we ask people about what's your favorite movie, no one can just name one, right, Rachel? They have to name. So apparently, Zootopia is one of your favorite movies. What's so wonderful about this movie to you?
Well, like I said, me and my children we animal lovers. Like we love all animals. But the different kind of animals that was in Zootopia, it was just amazing looking how easy it was for them to just get along. And I used to look at my kids like we should be able to do that as humans too.
Yeah.
So we just loved all the things that was surrounding Zootopia, and it was like, wow, it was something that we could really learn from.
Yeah, and that's interesting. The word, the name of the movie, Zootopia, really pointed to this place where everybody literally got along, right? And if you look at and think about the beginning of the movie, it kind of showed the history of what they pointed to was the predator and those that were, the prey, right? So this predator back at a particular time in the world, was just mean and vicious and after, the bunnies and these other smaller animals. And then something happened, right, where they created this space where they all got along. So we're going to talk about that. Now I'm going to ask you one question, because when I watched that movie, and I could not remember what this particular animal was. And by the way, I'm an animal lover, as you probably know. But the guy, remember the scene where the little animal that was portraying the Godfather? I love that. That was one of my favorite parts. What was he? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
I've got to look that up.
I'm going to look that up. Let me write that down.
I got to look that up because he was because The Godfather, by the way, is one of my other favorite movies. And so when they talked about this, when he came in the voice of The Godfather, I thought like, oh my God, they're merging one of my favorite movies
into that. That was awesome. They used his voice as well.
Yeah. So in the world, that we live in, there is so much stereotyping, right? Whether it's about race or the way people show up in the world, it could be people's characteristics, right? All of that. Isn't it interesting how they were able to kind of come together? How do you see that in the world that we live today?
I see it as an eye opener for sure. Just underestimating people and just looking at them and taking them as, you just don't want to profile people.
Yes.
And that's what we get a lot today. And I like the fact that we can open people's eyes to reality. And
I love that. Say more.
Yes. And we can open people's eyes to reality because we are being misled by people that judge us and stereotype us. And, just thinking about a situation that I was in recently, I was riding and I said, well, why is this police officer pulling this car over? And I said, well, maybe he was smoking weed, or maybe I don't know what he was
Mm-hmm.
doing. But my son said, well, Mama, for you to make assumptions, don't you think that's kind of like profiling?
Ah, oh,
I said, you know what? I said, I stand to be corrected. You are absolutely right. And that's just what we watched on Zootopia, how they were stereotyping, bullying, not accepting people, or, treating them like they should be treated.
yeah. Isn't that interesting? How wise your son. Look,
Very
I
wide.
find it so interesting when our children come up
Yes.
with amazing responses that actually put us in check, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and and,
Yeah.
and if we're wise, we learn from each other, because I feel children who often are untainted by a lot of things
Yeah.
in life have a lot of pearls and nuggets of wisdom. And if we were just open and curious enough, we could
Mhm.
actually hear that. So you're talking about your own, you know, situation where you were like literally stereotyping someone. You looked and you made up your own narrative about someone. Have you ever felt that way about you? Like, just reverse it and say, someone was thinking a certain way about me, and then I like, what did that feel like?
Well, yeah, I went to a store actually, and I had money and I wanted to purchase some things, but I'm a browser.
Hmm.
But the way they follow me around made me feel very
Hmm.
uncomfortable. And I said, well, maybe they think that I came in here to, lift some
Yeah,
things. But it made me feel like I was being profiled,
yeah, yeah,
honestly. And I said, well, I think I can leave this store right now because I don't want to be followed around like I'm in here to take
yeah,
anything, especially when you're not trying to assist me or offer your help, but you just follow me around watching me.
yeah, yeah.
And it makes me think about what our children really go through, you know, when they're away, like when they're out
Hmm.
at school or just anywhere. So when someone checks me about what I'm doing, I have to keep in mind that I'm the role model here. So I should not be that one that's judging a book by its cover.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm
I, I,
saying?
I love that. And thank you, Rachel. One of the things that I appreciate about you so very much is you actually have an art of doing this, and that's being very vulnerable, right? Of opening up your heart and your space to share about a little bit of your own history and your own journey. And I find it interesting, even in this conversation about Zootopia, how based on a portion of your history and like where you are working, where you are operating in the world, do you ever have in your shadow a little bit of, I'm wondering how people see me today? And looking based on my history and how I'm um, able to operate in this space. And I'll say a little bit. So Rachel is our development assistant, right? Who is tremendous, does amazing work with our volunteers. But some people
Mhm.
don't know your story, right? And so can you make that connection from that point to today and like perhaps you're living in the shadow of that?
I want to just speak on that because the one interesting thing that I did truly love that about Judy and
Hmm.
Nick, just how they became
Yes.
friends throughout the movie and what it took for them to make that connection. And see, that's just what it is. We can be at odds in the
Hmm.
beginning,
Hmm.
but in the end, I would like us to be the very best of friends. And how do we do that? But we have to receive what that person is saying, that person that opened our eyes up. to reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
That so the way people see me now is that Rachel is truly, I believe, walking in her power. She is, because she realized she's the source of her power. So she's walking in it. And, she's not looking back.
Yeah.
And she's going to, by all means, help and be there in any way that she can for anyone that she encounters with. Yeah. So it's just not giving up. I think people look at me as a person that refused to give up.
Yeah. And
refuse to be enslaved.
And somewhere in there comes some learning from your past, right? And you brought up Nick. And so you remember the scene where Nick, and it was hard for him to actually do this, where he begins to share that moment in time when he was a little, I think it was a Cub Scout. He was Cub Scout, and he wanted to, where
they wouldn't let him join.
Right. They did that horrible thing, put a muzzle over him because he was a fox. And in their thoughts, foxes were slick. They couldn't be trusted, all of that. And yet his intentions were so pure. It was so pure. And that was the moment where, when you look at these two different animals coming from two different places in the world, right? Predator and prey, that when they shared that, it was, they both had similar histories. That was the moment.
They shared some interest with what they have experienced in life.
Yeah.
Where she was able to understand his actions more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that part was very heartfelt to me, because I had to ask myself, have you ever felt that way? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I absolutely have. And how did you feel? I'm literally asking myself, as me and my kids communicated through the movie, well, how did you feel, just to be alienated or be characterized because of maybe your past or something that a person, they perception of you.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at that as being misperceived.
Yeah, absolutely.
People definitely will misperceive you. And me, I like to show who I am. What you see is what you get. You just have to take the time to get to know me.
Yes. And one of the things when you said that, Rachel is notorious for bringing up some of her grandmother's quotes. And it's always so applicable to whatever the subject is. And I'm sure as we have this dialogue, I'm hopeful that the audience will hear some of these amazing quotes that I have never heard in my life. And with that, let's take a break. And I'm excited to continue this conversation about Zootopia. Take a break. Hang in there with us. We'll be right back.
When the world is uncertain, having a focus can make everything clear. At Gallagher, our focus is community. It's a simple word that can mean many things. The places where we live and work, the industries where we do business, and the new connections we form around new ways of interacting. As your community insurance broker and consultant, Gallagher's purpose is to help you move forward with confidence by managing your risk, by helping you foster a healthy, thriving workforce, by holding ourselves to the highest standards of ethics, and by bringing together global reach and local expertise to help your business, your community, through every challenge you face. So whether your doors never closed or you're looking to return and rebuild, our focus remains where it's always been, on you and your community. Because that's what it means to build confidence together.
And welcome back to the Art of Family. I am having a great time with Rachel Minion talking about one of her favorite movies, Zootopia. By the way, for those of you that are kind of newer to that particular movie, it is actually called Zootropulus. And I don't know the history of that or the why, but if you go on Disney Plus, it will come up as Zootropulus, for whatever reason. It's a great movie that really highlights the challenges that these animals are living through with stereotypes and all kinds of things that come up, much like we live in our world today. And two of the, I think, best characters are Judy, the little bunny who always wanted to be a police officer, and Nick, the fox, right? Who she connects with in trying to solve the case. But is there anything that resonates with you, Rachel, when you think about Judy and her dream of always wanting to be a cop? Like as a kid, I'm sure you had some dreams and aspirations of being whatever that is that you had set your eyes on. What resonates with you?
What resonates with me and that was another highlight of the movie, just her one goal.
Mm-hmm.
She had one goal, and she knew what it takes. She knew what it took to accomplish that goal. And I like how she identified this is what she wanted. And she was not going to stop at nothing to get it.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter to her what no one else thought about it, how absurd they thought it was, even her own parents. But she believed in herself. And that was so important to me, that she believed in herself. And I guess the fact that she felt like she was living in a harmless world and, she wanted to make change. I like that. She wanted to make change. She wanted to make a difference. She wanted to save lives in more ways than one. And I really just love Judy for that. And it resonated with me because when I think of myself, I think of people first.
Yeah.
Like, I want to help people. I want to make a difference. Like, someone made a difference in my life.
Yeah.
Like, someone changed my life and gave me my life back. So Judy was definitely an awesome person in that movie. And she came to become an awesome
Yes,
cop.
she did.
She did. She proved everyone wrong.
Yeah.
That was so awesome. Like, don't give up.
Yeah.
And that's what you think about. Don't give
Yeah.
up.
But there was a point in the movie, Rachel, where Judy, probably 3/4 way in, got discouraged, right? When she figured, I can't do this. She felt I messed up. I literally caused this upheaval in the world right now. The city of Zootopia, everybody's mad. You got predator and prey just mad at each other. And she felt she was the cause of that. And she went back to the carrot farm, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how, in the world that we live in the lives that we live, like how often we are faced with challenges that lead to us saying, you know what, it's not even worth it. Like, and how, and I'm sure we've all experienced that, right? You have, I have. How do we get through that? Like, what does it take to push through that?
I guess this would be a time to think about one of those famous quotes my grandmother used to
I couldn't wait. I knew it would come up.
and I'm going to, go back to when I was a severely bad alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
And I always felt like, you know what, I will always be an alcoholic. And this is how people see me. So there is no trying to quit or putting forth the effort. So that's where all my funds, I exhausted my funds on alcohol. And my grandmother just sat me down one day and I said, Grandma, I have no money. I need some money. She said, you just had some money. I said, no. She said, what'd you do with it? You bought you a bunch of drinks? I said, yeah. She said, well, and she never said, every time she said something to me, she would never give me no information behind it. That's why I'm understanding stuff decades later. She said, well, you know, the bird in the hand beat the one flying.
Say that again.
She said, you know, the bird in the hand beat the one flying.
Wait a minute. Say that slowly. The bird
in the hand beats the one flying.
I got it. Yes.
I didn't get it back then. And this is why when I have conversations with my children, I have to break down everything because yes, I want them to learn throughout life and I want them to, you know, be impacted by what my journey was, but I also want them to live their own journey as well and understand everything, the messages behind everything. I don't want to influence them to go out and make mistakes because things are going to happen in life. And that's what the movie's about. Things are going to happen. But Judy's main focus was having solutions to the issues that surrounded Zootopia.
Yeah. And there were moments, even when she was challenged, went back to the carrot farm and said, you know, hey, I'm back. And, you know, let's be honest, her mom and dad were glad to have her back because, you know, they really didn't want her in that life because they wanted to protect her. But I think your purpose, like there is a calling that keeps drawing you in. Part of that just won't let you go. So she thought, okay, I'm out of here. I'm back home. But there was a moment where something like sparked up. She heard something. She saw something. And it literally kind of jolted something in her that sent her back on the path to her purpose. And I think that's one of the things for us in life when we are discouraged, when we are challenged, that our purpose, the calling, won't let us go. It just won't let us go. You can't live a life and, well, you can because there are choices, right? You can choose, but that calling never, ever, like, subsides.
It does not. Like, I know the calling on my life, I didn't know how, but I had to intertwine with others. And I had to be a part of somebody, a part of something that had the same interests that I had, that have the same values that I have. You know, everything that had to align with whatever I was a part of. I love people. I love helping people. I love making a difference in lives. But I also like that to be reciprocated to me, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was. So that made it just that much more amazing to see the change. And that's why Soup City, I'm sorry, I have to bring up, that's why that is one of my favorite events, to really see these women come from such a life that they didn't plan for themselves, but that they thought that they couldn't get out of.
Yeah.
And then to see them be celebrated and to have everything that they needed to get through that journey that was so tough, I'm sure, but it was so important.
Yeah. And
that journey was so important.
And that's what the Art of Family is really all about, right? It really is about all of our, when we look at our imperfections, right? We're all, every last human being on earth, we are so imperfect, right? We have all kinds of scars and reminders of things that have happened in our life, but like in front of us, I always talk about why the rearview mirror is smaller than your the glass and the windshield in front of you. It's because let's only look and remember just the part of that in our past, right? What's in front of us is this huge, big life with so many opportunities and with all of our imperfections. We kind of go into that. And I think that's a great metaphor to help us not to live in regrets, because the worst thing that could have happened for Judy, and a lot of people this happens, is for them to live in a regret. Right. Just live in a regret. And she could have said, I wish I had, pushed forward and heeded to that constant call that pushed her, or was wooing her back into what her true purpose was and what was like in her heart to be. And, I always think of that way. No regrets, living with no regrets. Did your grandma have any particular saying around that?
She did. She has so many. And when I think about her, inside, I just get so warm.
Yeah.
And I try to think about everything because we were so close. We spent so much time together. And one will come to me. But, Judy reminded me of me, like when I first, at COTS, when I left COTS, I had to come back. It was this moment where I thought I was breaking up with something.
Yeah.
That I love.
And you're talking about when you had basically moved into housing?
That's when I'm transitioned into housing and I was away. I'm like, I got to get back there because I was feeling a void. I was feeling empty. Wow. And I thought about that with Judy at that part when she almost gave up. I'm like, what can I do to get back there to make this connection? To show them that I just truly appreciate and I want to be a part of this. And you know what? It just happened. Everything just happened and it just began to flow organically. Everything just kind of fell into place. And that just truly reminded me, I just love Judy's character. She never gave up. And she was so open, to listen to the Fox when he would talk to her. And I loved how she was open-minded about him.
Yeah.
And she didn't really stereotype or judge him, but just became his good friend.
Yeah, I love that too. And when I think of the fact that she also was a pebble in a ripple that impacted his life, right? He literally became a cop.
Literally became a cop
because of Judy. I wasn't expecting that. Either at the end, and here's what's wonderful about that is I'm sitting here thinking, and
he really impacted.
He did, and he becomes this cop, but he was with his own characteristics, his own self. The cool sunglasses, right? He didn't have to change to fit in. He showed up as the Fox. Right. And it was accepted. I love the fact that oftentimes, when you look at life and sometimes people, we change so we could fit in. We do something different. We show up different. We put something on different in terms of our attire. We, change our hair, whatever it is, so we can, so we can fit in. And the whole notion that, hey, I love when we talk about diversity and inclusion, because that's what that was. It's accepting of people's selves, like who they really are, and intertwining that, that's getting weaved into this beautiful tapestry of life. That's the beauty of inclusion and diversity. I can't stand all of one thing. It's just, it's stale to me to hear your story, to hear your grandma's quotes. All of those, just to me, it makes my life richer. And I'm really hopeful that the world that we live in, will really start to take on a place of curiosity and openness to just hear what's happening in the lives and to use that to make life richer.
And just use it to, and I want to thank you because I should start writing some of those quotes down.
You should.
And I never do. And I always notice you have your pad and you write a lot of things down. And I would think about those quotes and then they just come to me just as they come. But I want to start writing them down because sometimes I do things that I be needing that right now.
Yeah.
Like I do remember one she told me, and I struggle with those same very things that you talk about. I want to fit in. So I thought I wasn't nice enough. I knew I'm already genuinely nice, but maybe if I be nicer, I will fit in and they'll want me around. And she said, you have to be what you are and just live your life.
Right.
And she said, God know your heart.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, you're right. So she said, basically, her philosophy to me of life was, live the life you love.
Yes.
But also, you have to love the life that you live.
I like that, Rachel.
And I can remember her saying that to me as we're sitting here talking. And I'm not going to write that down.
I am. I'll write it down for you. There's going to be a book of grandma's quotes before this is over with, right? If you don't write them down, I'm writing them down. I love quotes, and I love looking back at them because they're so rich. Honestly, they're so rich, and there's great meaning. There are things that you can actually use for the rest of your life with those quotes. So I love that. Live the life you live, but
no,
you love. Say it again.
Live the life that
you love, and love the life that you live. Yes. I love that.
Because there's no point of living this life if you don't love it.
Absolutely.
So I am genuinely in love with what I do at Cox.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely in love with it.
Yeah. And that shows up.
No matter, it doesn't matter what the job is, it just don't matter because I look at the end result. What is this going to accomplish when it's finished?
Yeah.
Who's going to benefit from this when it's finished? Our people.
Yeah.
And although we have limited resources for our population that we serve, we still go out our way to help others in the communities who are not a part of our program. And I just love that about our organization, Cheryl. I do. Just the life-changing events in people's lives. So I want to just think about the Soup City next year. And I want to see more entertainment from the families. Remember how we used to be on the stage when Brenda and her children were entertaining? Oh, man, I would love to see that again.
I thank you so much, Rachel, for huddling up with me today and for this conversation. And to our audience, I'm going to leave you with this. Live the life you love and love the life that you live. That is one of Rachel's famous quotes, as spoken none other than from her grandma. Live the life you love and love the life that you live. Thank you so much, Rachel. And to our listening audience, thank you for joining us. And hopefully this is going to spark some discussion, even in your own homes, and most importantly, give you something to really, really think about as you are weaving your tapestry of life. And if you really like this, and I know you did, please follow our podcast and give us a 5-star rating. And that is going to help others to easily find us and join us in these great discussions. Thank you again, and we'll see you on our next episode of The Art of Family.
Thank you for listening to The Art of Family, a podcast that serves to share triumphs of families overcoming poverty and homelessness. As families journey towards stability, COTS believes there is always beauty to be found along the way. Through partnership, mentorship, and relationship, we all create opportunities to succeed. To support this mission, or to learn more about COTS, our families, or our partners, visit us online at cotsdetroit.org. That's COTS Detroit.org.